November has arrived, fall has arrived here in Chicago, and championship season has finally arrived here in NCAA Division III women's soccer. Today here at Stuart Field in Chicago, Illinois, it's now time for the NACC women's soccer semifinal matchup as the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks get set to play host to the Dominican Stars. Once again, hello everyone, good evening, and welcome to Chicago. Chris Rouse here on the call where the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks look to try to make it back to the NACC Women's Soccer Conference Championship for the fifth straight time. They'll take on the Dominican Stars today. The Stars come in with a record of 12-5-1 on the season. Dominican was a team that went 9-3 in conference play throughout the regular season, and they come in following a first-round win against Concordia University of Wisconsin to get to this matchup against Illinois Tech. Speaking of Illinois Tech, this was the third straight season that they came in as the favorite to win the NACC regular season, and the Scarlet Hawks did just that with dominating numbers to support their claim to the top seed in the conference tournament. Illinois Tech went 81-1, 81 goals for, 8 against in regular season competition, and they outscored conference opponents 67-1 in regular season play. In their most recent outing, however, Illinois Tech did give up their second conference goal. That was at the hands of Jenny Shade with literally 3 seconds to go in the quarterfinals against Wisconsin Lutheran. And as a result, Illinois Tech comes into this semifinal matchup now with a goals for to goal against margin of 72-4 to allowed. Meanwhile, on the other end, Dominican, they have the player that had the one in the regular season. That was Mia Dosen. She comes in the leading goal scorer this season for the Dominican Stars, wearing number 28. And if Coach Carlos Carrillo and the Dominican Stars are going to upset the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks, they know Dosen had 9 goals on the season, including the one here. They're going to need more to beat the Scarlet Hawks. Starting lineup's about to be introduced, along with the national anthem, here at Stuart Field.
Defenders. A senior forward from Palos Hills, Illinois. Number 10, Mia Dosen. A first-year defender from Champaign, Illinois. Number 11, MK Kleesner. A senior forward from Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 12, Natalia Lopez. A sophomore defender from Milwaukee, Oregon. Number 16, Ariana Barney. A sophomore midfielder from Henderson, Nevada. Number 21, Tia Gard. A junior forward from Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 28, Megan Wilhite. A junior defender from Las Vegas, Nevada. Number 35, Mackenzie Karani. A sophomore goalkeeper from Henderson, Nevada. Number 99, Gianna Stamnak. The Stars are led by head coach Carlos Carrillo and assistant coaches Sarah Sabanovich, Jeff Osama, Lauren Salas, Hannah Silveria, and Stefan Tumar. And now for Illinois Tech. A junior goalkeeper from Washington, number 1, Kayla Hampton. A senior forward from Redmond, Washington, number 4, Kayla Smith. A senior midfielder from St. Louis, Missouri, number 5, Allison Murray.
Video clip.
A sophomore defender from Geneva, Illinois.
Kayla Hampton, Duval, Washington.
Lena Yanara, Geneva, Illinois.
Mary Frampton, Seattle, Washington.
Gabriella Baltus, Plymouth, Minnesota.
Grace Yeager, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Allie Murray, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hannah Ramos, Tucson, Arizona.
Kelly Hitchcock, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Twessa Valdelia, Saratoga, California.
Kayla Thomas, Helsingborg, Sweden.
Kayla Smith, Redmond, Washington.
A senior forward from Helsingborg, Sweden, number 20, Kayla Thomas. A first-year forward from Saratoga, California, number 25, Tavessa Vatovia. A senior defender from Seattle, Washington, number 34, Mary Frampton. The Scarlet Hawks are led by head coach Shane Ellison in his 11th season and assistant coaches Alan Garcia-Pina, Julian Soto, Tom Paparunas, Lucy Jajorian, Sarah Thomas, and Jillian Olschlager. Would all fans now please rise and remove your hats as we honor America for playing our national anthem.
First drive. You got it pumped up for the lunch.
Back at Stuart Field in Chicago for the NACC Conference Semifinal women's soccer matchup here between the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks and the Dominican Stars. This will be the 14th all-time meeting between these two programs. Dominican actually leads the all-time series 9-4, but Illinois Tech has won the last three, including a 5-1 win back on October the 15th. Dominican looking to turn their fortunes around today, and here's the starting lineup this evening. First for head coach Carlos Carrillo in his 12th season. He will start with Gianna Stanek in the net, the keeper wearing number 99. This will be her 14th start of the season. Numerically in the field will be number 3, Cameron Klinger. Number 7, Sierra Rue. Number 8, Sarah Matusik. Number 18, Mia Dosen. Number 11, MK Kleesner. Number 12, Natalia Lopez. Number 16, Ariana Barney. Number 21, Tia Gar. Number 28, Megan Wilhite, who had 2 goals in the quarterfinal win over Concordia University of Wisconsin. And number 35, Mackenzie Cudahy. The starters for the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Once again, this Scarlet Hawk team outscoring opponents 72 goals for, 2 against this season. Illinois Tech just dominant, looking to make it back to their 5th NACC Conference Championship game. Roshane Ellison in his 11th season. He will send the following starting lineup on the pitch in front of goalkeeper number 1, Kayla Hampton, who will make her 17th start. In the field, the Scarlet Hawks will have number 4, Kayla Smith. Number 5, Allison Murray. Number 6, Lena Yonihara. Number 8, Hannah Ramos. Number 10, a likely player of the year candidate, Kelly Hitchcock. Number 16, Gabriela Baltez. Number 18, Grace Yeager. Number 20, Kayla Thomas. Number 25, Tavessa Vatalia. And number 34, the senior out of Seattle, Washington, Mary Hampton, rounds out the starting lineup. Starting 11 for the Scarlet Hawk lineup. Mary Frampton has done a great job this season on the back line for Illinois Tech. Mary Frampton has been a key part to this Illinois Tech roster, and you can see her actually on that back line. It appears that Illinois Tech will start with what looks to be a 3-2-5 set on the field. They only got 3 players on that back line. And meanwhile, Dominican, they've really yet to break out. They've got 2 in the front to start this out. And Dominican actually looks like both teams are going to go with a 5-2-3 for Illinois Tech, 5-3-2 for Dominican, and we're underway here at Stuart Field, and there is Frampton with the first touch for Illinois Tech. You would think the keys to this matchup is simple for Dominican. hang in there as long as possible with this Illinois Tech team. Remember, Mia Dosen had the only regular season goal scored in conference play against the Scarlet Hawks. She had that for Dominican. Illinois Tech with the ball out high here in the early going with Kayla Smith. And Smith plays it over, and here's a touch for Lena Yonihara. Tavessa Vathalia with a quick touch. Ball played outside. That's Kayla Thomas on that far side of the pitch over on the east side here at Stuart Field. Ball sent in, and Stanek gets down. Actually made a bit of a tough save by Stanek, but she gets a whistle to support the hands on the catch of that lob into the front of the net. Well, when you talk about players that have stood out defensively in the NACC this season, well, Paige Sanchez of MSOE is likely going to be the runaway top defensive player in the conference. But you've also have Gabriela Baltez of Illinois Tech, and, of course, Gianna Stanek, who you can see in net for Dominican. She won Defensive Player of the Week earlier this season, much the same as the aforementioned Baltez for Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks play the ball into the penalty area where M.K. Kleesner sends it out. Sends it actually out of play for a Scarlet Hawk throw. Dominican had a lot of the most recent notable stats against Illinois Tech. They're the Carlos Carrillo back on September the 15th, 2021, got his 100th career win against Illinois Tech right here at Stuart Field. And then also that's the same season Dominican defeated the Scarlet Hawks for the NACC Conference Championship. That was the first of what has now been 4 straight appearances for the Scarlet Hawks. And then in 2022, Dominican has the most recent conference regular season loss for Illinois Tech. So they're the most recent team to beat Illinois Tech in a conference regular season matchup. That back in September 2022. Yes, you heard that right. Illinois Tech unbeaten. Remember, that doesn't mean they've won all of them. They have a few ties in there, but unbeaten since 2022 in conference play. Dominican handing them that most recent loss. It'll be Matusik to send it in here on the free kick for the Stars. Matusik, that's a pretty good ball towards the post, and a nice high catch in the air by Kayla Hampton. 17th start of the season for Kayla Hampton, the junior out of Duvall, Washington. Hampton this season, this is now, of course, her 18th game played. She started the previous 16 of the previous 17 she's played in. She's allowed 6 goals. She's made 17 saves, a goal against average under 1 at .54. In fact, most of the goals Hampton allowed occurred on Monday, October the 6th, a few blocks, well, maybe not a few, but about 20 blocks south from here at Stagg Field in the 5-1 loss for the Scarlet Hawks at the hands of the University of Chicago. Ball goes out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Stanek. Stanek, the sophomore out of Henderson, Nevada. And honestly, if you look up and down this Dominican roster, you'll see a bit of a Vegas connection. They've got 10 players listed as being from a Nevada connection. They've got 10 players as being from Nevada, but 5 are from Vegas, 4 from Las Vegas proper, and 1 from North Las Vegas, that being Liliana Arashiga. Ball into the air and sent back the other way for Dominican. That's a long run for Megan Wilhite. We've talked about Mia Dosen. Megan Wilhite had the 2 goals for Dominican in their win against Concordia in the quarterfinal. A bit of a mistouch there for Wilhite. Wilhite is second on the team in goals scored with 7 behind Dosen, who has 9. I mentioned how Kelly Hitchcock, likely player of the year in the conference for Illinois Tech with her 12 goals and 5 assists. Also Kayla Smith, 13 goals, 9 assists. As Illinois Tech, they have players. Smith was the only one with 30 points on the season with 35, at least to this point. And now Hitchcock just under 30 at 29. Ball played over by Illinois Tech as the Scarlet Hawks get a nice play back and forth between the keeper and that back line. We mentioned how we got a lot of key players in this NACC conference matchup, and there is Gabriela Baltez. We mentioned players that could be defensive players of the year in this conference. Well, tomorrow the NACC Women's Soccer All-Conference Awards to be announced at 2 p.m. Categories include, of course, Defender of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, Forward, Midfielder, First-Year Player, and, of course, Coaching Staff of the Year here in the NACC. And you've got a lot of candidates on the pitch right now between the Scarlet Hawks and the Stars. As now Illinois Tech has the ball with Yeager. Yeager dispossessed. Good job by Matusik to step in front. And then it's won by Sierra Rue. Ball goes out of play. And it will lead to a Dominican throw. You think Dominican's aggressiveness, they're coming out as if they want to try to jump on Illinois Tech early on. They were already down 5-0 when Dosen scored that goal back on October the 15th. But now Dominican, you can see them putting the pressure on Illinois Tech. One thing Coach Roshane Ellison for Illinois Tech has really had an issue with, especially early in matches here at Stuart Field, has been the team's discipline. Meaning you'll see a lot of offside penalties early on in the matchup, offside calls early on in the matchup. You see a lot of fouls as Illinois Tech tries to establish dominance, usually in this first 5 minutes of the match. So Dominican has that going for them here, where they've kept the ball out near midfield. It hasn't really been in either team's attacking third as we're halfway through this 7th minute. Hitchcock played it outside to Thomas. There's Tavessa Vatalia. Impressive season from Tavessa Vatalia for Illinois Tech. Had the game-winning goal against MSOE back on October the 18th. Vatalia to Yeager. Ball dispossessed. And a foul as Yeager runs through Matusik. Matusik mixing it up early here in the early go. Mixing it up early here for Dominican. Going right at Yeager. Really just stepping in her lane so she couldn't get a quality look at the net. Coach Carlos Carrillo with the instructions for his team. You hear him talking about the 18-yard line, which is where the running start will begin here on the free kick for Dominican. Hitchcock. Over to Yoni Hara. Nice turn by Yoni Hara. She tried to feed to Ramos, but Ramos had a bad first touch. Tia Gar won possession. Ball sent down. Frampton will watch that one go out of play for a Scarlet Hawk throw. Frampton, the senior out of Seattle, Washington this season for Illinois Tech. It's her 10th appearance. Frampton has 1 goal this year. Of course, you know, Frampton's goal was a PK goal. And Illinois Tech, that goal for Frampton, if I'm not mistaken, that was against Marion earlier in the season, the 7-0 win back on October the 4th. Here's Baltez. Baltez and Frampton both get to the ball, and you can see what Sierra Rue what really Dominican's trying to do. They're just trying to flip the field here. Illinois Tech is known for dominating possession early in matches, and it really just feels Dominican, it's not really about the attacking third for Dominican right now. They're just trying to keep Illinois Tech from holding onto the ball and controlling possession the majority of the matchup. And to Dominican's credit, the ball has been played. The ball has been on the south side of the pitch the majority of this first 9 minutes. Baltez over to Frampton. Hitchcock had her back to the play. Really no lanes for Illinois Tech. And now Smith and Baltez. Baltez, it appeared that pass was flat from Baltez, but it had a quality hop over to Hitchcock. A couple of bad touches for Illinois Tech, actually, just on the pass receptions, and that's really why they had to play to that back line. And as I say that, here's Smith, who gets into an attacking spot for the Scarlet Hawks. She sends one in and sent right back out by Dominican. Thomas, a low roller right over to Stanek. One of the deepest attacks we've seen from Illinois Tech thus far, but nothing doing as the Scarlet Hawks tried to center the ball. Stanek sends it down. Got to run to the sideline. Good job by Yeager to stay in and preserve possession for Illinois Tech. Baltez. Switch pass to Frampton. Frampton looking for Vatalia. There's one of those funny first touches for Illinois Tech where it seems like the ball just takes a bit of a hop, an odd hop back the other way off the foot of the intended target. Yeager. Over to Baltez, and once again over to Frampton. Illinois Tech mentioned how they've really only had 3 on that back line. Bit of a 3-2-5 look for Illinois Tech. And now Frampton switches one over to Smith. And here is Smith with Hitchcock charging in to join the attack. So it would have created a diversion. Smith goes for goal. Stanek able to parry away. Great effort from Stanek. Smith looked like she was going to bend that one just inside that west post on the north net here at Stuart Field. But Stanek able to knock it away for a corner. It'll be Smith on the corner. She takes it quickly, sends it in. The ball is headed down towards the net. That was Baltez on the header. And the attempt to clear the ball out for Dominican, at first unsuccessful, but the second one was. And now Frampton has to run it down for Illinois Tech. Yeager. She got support on the outside to Smith. Vatalia is in the middle for the centering pass if Smith chooses to go that route. Smith doing a few dance moves here to try to get around Matusik. And Illinois Tech will get an offside call here to give it to Dominican. Coach Roshane Ellison with instructions for his team as they backpedal defensively. Remember, this one of 2 NACC women's soccer semifinal matchups today. MSOE taking on Edgewood in the other matchup. That one taking place out in Milwaukee. Should MSOE and Illinois Tech both win their semifinal matchup. 3rd straight year of Scarlet Hawks Raiders right here at Stuart Field if those 2 teams come away with the victory. But of course, Dominican, a former conference champion themselves, and Edgewood, sort of the new upstart team in the conference, would like to have something else to say about those possible results. As now Vatalia plays it over for Illinois Tech. Hitchcock dispossessed Antia Gar. That was actually just a great tackle by Gar. She tackled Hitchcock off the ball in one possession. Ball played over to Smith. And back to Frampton. Seen a lot of that diagonal passing, a diagonal switch passing here from Illinois Tech. Frampton tried to hit Vatalia. Vatalia goes down. Good job by Yoni Hara to step in front of a pass to delay Dominican's efforts towards the other end of the pitch. And sent down where Frampton knocks the ball down with the body on her first touch. A lot of switch passing here from Illinois Tech. But you can see the Scarlet Hawks, that quick passing, trying to catch Dominican off guard. Very common attack for Illinois Tech. We've seen this all season long. We've actually seen this throughout the past maybe 4 seasons under head coach Roshane Ellison. And what a job he's done getting his team to 4 consecutive conference championship games. They finally broke through last season after the, of course, heartbreaking 1-0 double overtime loss in 2023. Of course, losses to Concordia University of Wisconsin in 2022 and Dominican in 2021 prior to Coach Roshane Ellison and the Scarlet Hawks finally breaking through last season. And, of course, if Illinois Tech can win this season, back-to-back NACC Conference championships. Now here's Vatalia. Vatalia on the ball, gets to the front of the net, but couldn't quite possess it to get a shot. That was Lopez who sent it out. And I think Thomas may have made contact with the ball, and it'll lead to a Dominican throw-in. Coach Carlos Carrillo intently coaching his team here, going up and down the sidelines. And Coach Carrillo in his 12th season. On the other sideline, Roshane Ellison in his 11th season. And these are coaches And you talk about getting it out the mud. Both of these coaches have done just that, basically totally rebuilding their programs since arriving on their respective campuses. Coach Carrillo inherited a 3-win team when he got to Dominican back in 2013, and he made them a perennial conference powerhouse. They've had 4 NCAA tournament appearances since his arrival. Meanwhile, Coach Roshane Ellison, once again, 4 straight conference championship game appearances. Only 1 NCAA tournament bid to show for it thus far, but battling for number 2 here. Played 15 and a half minutes here at Stuart. At Stewart Field as now Yoni Hard throws it in to Vatalia. Illinois Tech has struggled to gain the advantage here against Dominican. And Illinois Tech this season, only 1 loss. That was to the University of Chicago. 1 tie. That was against Hope. Everyone else, Illinois Tech 19-1-1 this season. Ball played into Vatalia. Vatalia going for goal. Remember, Vatalia is naturally a left foot striker for Illinois Tech. Tried to go for goal towards that right post. Ends up just a little short. May have said 19-1-1, 17-1-1 for Illinois Tech coming in order to repeat as conference champions. It would be 19-1-1. As now here's Thomas, who gets the ball into the corner. Ramos back to Frampton. Frampton and Ramos. Quick midfield touch, quick backline touch. Illinois Tech, as opposed to switch passing, sort of just working around through their midfielders. Hitchcock tried to charge in. Ball taken away by Matusik and sent away. Sarah Matusik, the senior out of Lockport, Illinois. Stepping in and making the play. Vatalia going for goal. And Stanek again knocks it away. Gianna Stanek first turned back Kayla Smith. This time it's Tavessa Vatalia. Impressive first season from Vatalia. 6 goals, 6 assists. And of course, Vatalia had that big goal when Illinois Tech defeated MSOE. Almost 3 weeks ago. It was on October the 18th. Had the goal late in the matchup. And now here the Scarhawks go for goal again, but that one high off the fence for a goal kick. Yeah, Illinois Tech this season haven't had a lot of matches where the final outcome has been in doubt, but you continue to bring up that matchup, that win against MSOE with the 86th minute goal from Vatalia. That was also the same day where the men won 1-0 over MSOE with an 84th minute goal from Mateo Sakairo. Seen a lot of fun here at Stewart Field this season on both sides of the pitch, the women's and men's side for the Scarlet Hawks. Right now on the women's side, scoreless as we continue to play through this 19th minute. Hitchcock sends the ball outside to Yeager. Yeager plays it up to Vatalia. Good first touch with the right foot. And I think that's something that Vatalia has really been working on throughout the season. We've mentioned that just about every game I've been here at Stewart Field. The left foot strike, right foot touch has sort of been the common flow for Vatalia this season for Illinois Tech. Hitchcock trying to run the ball down here, just tried to step on it and just missed. Rue came away with it. And now Dosen with a switch pass over to Smith for Illinois Tech. Both teams just passing it to each other back and forth here. Dominican now will send it down towards that Scarlet Hawks sideline. That's a long run for Baltez. Illinois Tech will get to throw it in, but it allows Dominican to push up their back line. And Dominican right now looks like they're going to go with 4 on that back line. They sort of have Cameron Klinger, who is listed as a midfielder / defender. They sort of have Klinger straddling that midfield line. So putting him at 4, making it maybe a 4-3-3 set here out for Dominican. But Dominican in the early part of the matchup only had the 2 strikers, so very well could be a 4-4-2 set. Now we got a run for Thomas. That's a good run. It was a long run, but Thomas able to get there and preserve possession for Illinois Tech. Thomas pressured along that touchline. Plays the ball back, and Illinois Tech gets their back line involved. The entire back line is over midfield for the Scarlet Hawks. Frampton. Good pass, good first touch. Play back. That's a chance to go for goal for Murray, but that's going to be an easy hop right in the hands of Stanek. Allison Murray, the senior out of St. Louis, Missouri, had the right idea there. One of the first looks Illinois Tech has really had from maybe at about a centered part of the pitch. Everything else has been side shots from Vatalia and Smith. Frampton up to Thomas. And now the ball sent down. Vatalia in pursuit for Illinois Tech. Played out by Kleesner. It goes out off of Illinois Tech. And Dominican will get the first reserve of the evening. It'll be Sarah Borsellino, the senior out of New Lenox, Illinois, Lincoln Way Central alum. Number 33 in Navy will come on for the first time this evening at Stuart Field. And Borsellino will actually replace Wilhite. So Wilhite, who had the 2 goals in Dominican's quarterfinal victory, she'll head to the sideline here for Borsellino. Borsellino appearing in now her 19th matchup for Dominican. Has 1 assist on the season. 17 shots this season for Borsellino, but no goals to show for it. And she's a midfielder, one of those players that you would expect to see more involved on the defensive side here. Matter of fact, right in the middle of the pitch, picking up Vatalia. And there is Vatalia, who plays it over to Yeager. Yeager charging into a shot, ball blocked away. And now run down by Baltez. Couldn't quite see who that was for Dominican that ran in front. I think it may have been Kleesner who got over there. Kleesner and Lopez both in the vicinity. As now Frampton looking for a switch pass. She has Smith and Hitchcock. Hitchcock gave her a good run to the backside, but not enough air under the ball. Sierra Rue right here at the midfield stripe. Tries to play the ball up the pitch to Borsellino, who's actually on that front line now for Dominican after coming in to replace Wilhite. Frampton. Over to Thomas. Played it up to Hitchcock. Once again, another tough first touch for Illinois Tech. You can see Baltez sort of fighting herself there on that touch. And now she plays it back to Hampton. Coach Roshane Ellison, instructions for his team. He's telling them they've got to check Dominican's players on some of these plays. And now there is Stanek, who gets down to the pitch to make sure she can keep Illinois Tech from having a shot on the net. That was Smith charging the ball. Stanek punts it high into the air. Good spin on the ball, but it didn't really go too far. Run down again by this Illinois Tech back line. Baltez will play it over to Hampton. And right back. Hampton this season has allowed 6 goals for Illinois Tech. And Illinois Tech, while Hampton has allowed 6 goals, she was not responsible, however, for the most recent goal, which was Jenny Shade scoring in the quarterfinal. That was actually scored against Katya Blotnick, with Illinois Tech very much having their quarterfinal victory in hand. That goal was scored with 3 seconds to go in the 90th minute. Hampton over to Baltez, middle of the pitch. Good job by Dominican. Their back line, they're making sure they stay out of the Illinois Tech attacking third. They're really forcing Illinois Tech to earn every spot on the pitch. And good defense there by Tia Garr. Garr, one of those 10 players out of Nevada on this Dominican roster, representing Henderson, Nevada, out of Coronado High School. Coach Carlos Carrillo asking his players, some of his players, to stay home. He's trying to make sure they keep that back line out of that Illinois Tech attacking third. And they have done a good job with just that strategy. Illinois Tech has had a hard time going station to station with their passing. And they've only had a few quality looks, maybe three good shots on the net, which you're thinking that's still probably a good amount of shots for Illinois Tech. But this is an Illinois Tech team that, when they played Dominican earlier this season, outshot them 28-6. Frampton. Over to Ramos. Illinois Tech having a hard time trying to switch the ball here against Dominican, or at least trying to create quality lanes to get shots. The Scarlet Hawks are winning the shot battle, 7-0. 5 of those 7 on goal. But the score that really matters, 0-0, with Illinois Tech now with 18.5 minutes remaining in this first half to try to break the ice. Ball played to the outside. Ramos. Good run, but Ramos was isolated. She was surrounded by 3 Dominican stars. The nearest help was maybe 10 yards away. That was going to be a tough play for Ramos. And you can just see for Illinois Tech, because Dominican they're doing a great job keeping their back line up. The Scarlet Hawks can't even send the ball in. Now they get one outside to Thomas, and that's blocked away. Cudahy on the block away there. Mackenzie Cudahy, the junior out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Baltez over to Smith. A lot of clutter here. Scarlet Hawks don't really have much room to operate. Yeager's pass knocked away off the leg of the intended target. She was looking for Hitchcock on that pass, was Yeager. And it really just hit Hitchcock in that back thigh. Ricocheted away. Ball was sent down, but Dominican unable to capitalize. Baltez. Finding Smith. Coach Ellison saying turn, turn, turn as soon as she made the first touch. Smith over to Hitchcock. Vatalia. Just a lot of clutter here. Illinois Tech, a bit of a box set here. They have 4 players almost set as almost like in a bit of a box formation here, because Dominican is packing it in defensively. With so many players on that back line, Illinois Tech can't get the runs they want to the net, and that's going to lead to a wide pass out of play. So far, Dominican just using the strength, using the discipline of their back line to keep Illinois Tech from getting the advantage on the scoreboard. Scarlet Hawks can't send the ball long. They can't really create the through ball lanes, which they would like. And you can see the Scarlet Hawks just a lot of frustration having to work so much on the outside just to create shots. And now Illinois Tech will get a sub. It will be number 15, Ava Nervarte. Nervarte missed the majority of the season with injury. And now she'll come back into the matchup here for the Scarlet Hawks, or enter the match for the first time, replacing Tavessa Vatalia. It's only the 6th appearance this season for Nervarte. And she had a very good season last year for Illinois Tech, as the Scarlet Hawks made their run to the NACC Conference Championship, in for the first time here in the semifinal. And it'll be another Dominican throw-in in the northeast corner. Thomas gets the header on the ball as it goes right back out of play for another Dominican throw. Coming up at halftime, we'll recap the first half, go over preview our second half, and we'll also keep you up to date on the score in the MSOE Edgewood semifinal matchup. Remember, the winner of this matchup will take on the winner of the MSOE Edgewood matchup. So we'll give you a score update on that. All of that coming up at halftime right here at Stuart Field, here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Ball thrown in, bounced in really to Frampton. And you really see Illinois Tech a little more patient. Usually they're more aggressive, more conservative approach here. And now they send it outside to Navarte. That's a good run. Navarte picked up by Gar. And it'll lead to a Scarlet Hawk throw. Navarte throws it in. Ball sent down by Rue. And that goes off of Yeager. Back out of play for another Dominican throw. Dominican doesn't really have anything offensively, statistically to show for it thus far. They don't have any shot attempts. But what they're doing with their back line has caused all sorts of problems for the Scarlet Hawks, despite the fact Illinois Tech is thoroughly ahead in what appears to be time of possession and shot total. I thought maybe that first 10 minutes Dominican owned the time of possession. But since then, Illinois Tech, just with a lot of dribbling here on their back line, Frampton, Baltez, Yeager, a lot of dribbling on that back line has really helped them regain the time of possession and maybe take it away. Not only regain it, but run away with it. But once again, still nothing to show for it in terms of scoring goals. Thomas has had a number of good turns. It's just that finish. When she gets down to that line, when she gets to the touch line, Dominican either applies two defenders or they sort of force Thomas to turn out of play and she'll run out of room. Frampton tried to send one in, and that was knocked away for another Scarlet Hawk throw. I think the story of this matchup thus far has been the discipline of this back line for the Dominican Stars. However, in order to advance to the conference championship, going to have to turn it into some offense. The ball sent in by Illinois Tech. One of the first times we've seen about 3 Scarlet Hawks get a run, but they can't even get a shot out of it as Navarte will watch it go out for a Scarlet Hawk corner. Smith will take the corner. This is usually where you'll see the ball go to that east post, and Baltez comes in on the backside for a header. Baltez is going right to that post. Oh, Stanek got a hand on it to parry it into the air, but it's cleared out by Dominican to get the ball out of harm's way. Oh, Illinois Tech, bit of a missed opportunity. Stanek has done a good job parrying the ball away. That's one of the few times where she parried it right into the air. And it was still in a dangerous spot, but cleared out. Baltez was looking for Smith and sent right back down by Dominican. Dominican, I'm sure they're content to just pack it in and put all 11 players on the Illinois Tech offensive side of the pitch. Keep the entire team in that attacking third. There's not a single player for Dominican across the midfield stripe. All 11 players, including the keeper, playing defense, and now a foul as Navarte goes down. That's going to be Tia Gar picking up the foul. The discipline, again, from that back line from Dominican, it's been the story of the matchup. That'll be their second foul, however. Fouls 2 apiece to this point of the match. Illinois Tech caught with 1 offside call against them. Scarlet Hawks also with 3 corners. As now Mary Frampton will take the free kick. Frampton sends it in. Navarte was charging in on the backside, but an easy catch for Stanek. You can feel the energy starting to pick up here at Stuart Field. Both teams have had energy throughout the matchup, but you can feel the intensity and the energy here, the nervous energy here from both sides. It's one of those things where Illinois Tech, they've been so favored all season that the longer Dominican hangs in this matchup, you feel like that the more confidence they will gain. So far, they're about 10 minutes away from getting to the half with a scoreless tie with the Scarlet Hawks. But still plenty of second half action to come after that halftime break. Hitchcock. Over to Smith. Good touch by Ramos. Played it right back for Hitchcock. Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara had to run it down. It was ping-ponged around. And now Smith again for Illinois Tech. Smith, another shot. That was blocked straight in the air. Good block by Matusik. Oh, it lands out at the 18-yard line before Klinger sent it out. And again, Dominican with everyone on that back line turning the Scarlet Hawks back. But also now we got a player down for the Stars as the clock stops with 9:09 remaining here in the first half. Good job by Gianna Stanek, the goalkeeper for Dominican thus far in the matchup. This is the 14th start for Stanek in her 15th game played. In the previous 14 matches, she obviously started 13 of the previous 14. Allowed 18 goals, a 1.36 goal against average with a 9-5 record. And good to see that everyone was okay after the mix-up there. We had a Dominican player down. I believe that was Kleesner that was down on the pitch for the Stars. And good to see her pop right back up here. Action will resume. Still scoreless here at Stuart Field. Final 9 seconds of this 36th minute as Lopez resumes action. Navarte with a quick touch. Passed it over to Thomas. A lot of dribbling from Thomas, just trying to get away from Klinger. Here's Smith. Smith over to Yeager. Oh, Yeager's pass. Oh, someone zigged when they should have zagged there. Yeager had a good through ball, but Hitchcock was going the other way. Hampton plays it over to Frampton. Frampton looking for Navarte, and again, Tia Gar standing in. Good job by Gar, and now dribbling the ball for Dominican. Gar played it to the outside before Frampton stepped in front and sent it the other way for Illinois Tech. You can hear Coach Roshane Ellison saying switch as he had Yoni Hara, who goes to Navarte. They get it to Thomas. Good spot for Thomas to make a maneuver, but once again, Dominican, every time Thomas gets it or makes a turn, she finds herself surrounded by two Dominican players. It was Klinger there that time to provide support for Cudahy. Avery Seeley and Taylor Hernandez, two of the normal reserves for Illinois Tech. Hernandez 11, Seeley 14 in for the first time for Illinois Tech. They'll replace number 20, Kayla Thomas, and number 10, Kelly Hitchcock. Seeley actually had Illinois Tech's most recent goal on Sunday, the goal that made it 5-0 against Wisconsin Lutheran. Of course, before the goal by Shade in the final 3 seconds for Wisconsin Lutheran made it a 5-1 Scarlet Hawk winner on Sunday. Frampton tried to go from distance, ball blocked by Cudahy. That's a good matchup there between Frampton and Cudahy, two players that are huge on the back line for their respective team. Hernandez with a nice maneuver. Stayed with the ball. Hernandez goes for the left foot. Goal! Oh, Taylor Hernandez.
Scarlet Hawk goal scored by number 11, Taylor Hernandez, unassisted.
10th goal of the season from Hernandez, and certainly one for the highlight reel. Right foot, right foot, shot, goal as she beat Stanek to make it 1-0 Scarlet Hawks. Scarlet Hawks also will go with a reserve here. Taylor Hernandez finding the back of the net. Caitlin Walsh comes into the match for Illinois Tech. And now out of play for a Scarlet Hawk throw. Walsh came in there to replace Ramos And what a shot by Hernandez, an absolute rocket. Absolutely lulled everyone to sleep with the theatrics, inside, outside dribbles, and then finally with a laser right past Stanek to make it 1-0 Scarlet Hawks. Hernandez scoring for the 10th time this season. And Taylor Hernandez with a quick touch here. And Roshane Ellison in past seasons, he's usually had that one reserve that you can sort of count on for goal scoring. And this season it's been Hernandez. We were talking about Avery Seeley had the most recent goal for Illinois Tech in their win against Wisconsin Lutheran on Sunday. Well, Taylor Hernandez has been one of those players that all season long has found ways to contribute. She didn't score a goal in that matchup, but she had the assist on Seeley's goal in the 79th minute on Sunday. No assist needed for Hernandez here, as she scored in the 39th minute for Illinois Tech. Navarte. Well, Navarte sort of slipped over the ball. Tia Gar wins possession for Dominican, and now you see Dominican starting to be more aggressive offensively now that they're not on level ground with the Scarlet Hawks. Now that the score is not 0-0. They're not on level ground. They're going to need more offense. And to this point, they still don't have a shot. As we actually get ready to conclude this 40th minute. Lopez almost hesitated right into a Scarlet Hawk takeaway. The ball headed up the pitch, or headed into the air by Murray. And now it goes over to Hampton for Illinois Tech. Here's Baltez. Baltez didn't like what she saw on the west side of the pitch, so she switched it to the east. And Illinois Tech, now they're in motion as they play it up the field. They have Smith out there with Hernandez. Smith is on the east side of the pitch, Hernandez on the west. Ball sent off the fencing here at Stuart Field, and it leads to a Scarlet Hawk corner. It was Taylor Hernandez with a goal in the 39th minute to open the scoring for Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawk corner. They send it in. Baltez with the header. And it'll be a goal kick. Typical set piece there from Illinois Tech. When they go with the corner, they usually look for Baltez on that back post header. Or sometimes maybe you'll see Frampton get involved. This time it was the normal Baltez. But the header goes straight down and out of play. Illinois Tech, 11 shots, 7 on goal. Dominican, of course, still yet to get a shot. 5 corners, none for Dominican. Hernandez over to Yeager, centering pass. Deflected away by Gar. Hernandez going to go for goal from distance. A little too much on that one as she sends it high off the north fence. Hernandez said one wasn't enough. Was going to try to go for the brace there and get that second goal, but she sends that one way too high, leading to the goal kick. And let's see how Dominican adjusts to this 1-0 deficit. The strategy was pretty simple early on. Keep a disciplined back line so Illinois Tech, while they'll be able to get their shots off, the shots won't have much quality on them. But then Hernandez came in as a reserve and certainly unleashed a quality shot to give Illinois Tech the 1-0 advantage. Ava Navarte looks like she's sort of limping around after a bit of a foot-to-foot collision at the ball there. I mentioned how Navarte's been out the majority of the season with injury for Illinois Tech. Frampton to Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara knocked off the ball. Almost a collision at the ball with Dozen and Seeley for Illinois Tech. Here's Seeley. Over to Navarte. Dispossessed again, Tia Gar. Tia Gar's done a great job defensively for Dominican. Middle of the pitch. Good turn. Smith goes for goal. Had the ball deflected away. Hernandez. Hernandez turns. You can hear Dominican calling for help as now Hernandez sends it in to Smith. Ball played outside. Hernandez tries to go for goal again. Stanek can make the play. And we've got a whistle. And that'll lead to Dominican taking the free kick. Clock continuing to tick here in the first half. And it was Taylor Hernandez in the 39th minute to give Illinois Tech a 1-0 advantage. For Illinois Tech, that was their 87th goal this season, 73rd against conference opponents. Here's Grace Yeager to throw it in. And it comes in for the Scarlet Hawks with time continuing to tick. Hampton over to Frampton and back to Yoni Hara. And now Illinois Tech across the midfield stripe. 1-0 advantage for Illinois Tech, but you have to believe that Coach Roshane Ellison will love at least one more goal here for breathing room. And you don't want any funny touches to happen. And while Illinois Tech does have the advantage on the scoreboard, we did see the Scarlet Hawks struggle to handle passes early on in the matchup. But thanks to the goal from Hernandez, Illinois Tech with a lead, and it looks like the Scarlet Hawks will take that 1-0 lead into the halftime break. Baltez from about the midfield stripe. Stanek makes the catch, and that ends the half with the Scarlet Hawks up 1-0 over the Dominican Stars. Taylor Hernandez unassisted in the 39th minute. That's all the scoring we've had here at Stuart Field on this early November evening here in Chicago. Halftime at Stuart Field, Scarlet Hawks with a 1-0 advantage over the Dominican Stars. This is the NACC Women's Conference Semifinal matchup between the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks and the Dominican Stars. Coming up at halftime, we'll recap the first half, preview the second half, and go over the other conference semifinal score. All of that coming up here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and YouTube Live after this break. Halftime at Stuart Field in Chicago. This is the NACC women's soccer semifinal matchup featuring the number 1 seed, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks, taking on the number 4 seed, the Dominican Stars. Chris Rouse here on the call as halftime continues at Stuart Field, where Illinois Tech has a 1-0 advantage over Dominican, outshooting the Dominican Stars by a score of 14-0, with 7 of the Illinois Tech 14 shots on goal, with the 1 goal coming in the 39th minute, scored by Taylor Hernandez. Hernandez with her 10th goal of the season. And now Illinois Tech, as a result, has outscored conference opponents 73-2 this season. And Illinois Tech, just what a season it's been for the Scarlet Hawks. They came in having only allowed 2 goals in conference play this season, and they are holding firm right now against Dominican. In the other semifinal, the number 2 seed, the MSOE Raiders, they have a 2-0 halftime advantage over the Edgewood Eagles. MSOE at halftime outshooting Edgewood 12 shots to 2, and they also had 2 goals in that first half from Claire Bradford and Faith Papazoglu. So MSOE with a 2-0 advantage, and of course they're led by their keeper Paige Sanchez, who could be one of the key players in the NACC conference all conference teams standings to when they are listed tomorrow. So Paige Sanchez very well could be the defender of the year in the MSOE once that's all announced. But MSOE with a 2-0 advantage as they lead Edgewood at halftime in their matchup in Milwaukee. Illinois Tech with a 1-0 advantage here against Dominican. And while we have some time, let's go over the key strategies, what could be the keys to the second half for Illinois Tech. They've got to break that Dominican discipline. Meanwhile, the story of the first half was Dominican's disciplined back line. They did a great job of keeping Illinois Tech from scoring. It was just Taylor Hernandez with some dribbles and a few pretty moves, and then a very beautiful laser of a shot to beat Gianna Stanek to open the scoring. Illinois Tech up 1-0. So let's see how Dominican adjusts. Now, can they be more aggressive offensively now that they're down 1-0? And the strategy of using their disciplined back line, it did work for the first 38 minutes of the matchup, but it was that goal in the 39th that has given Illinois Tech the edge. And as I mentioned not too long ago, if you want to see who will be named to the all-conference teams in the NACC, all the conference awards will be announced tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time. You can go to X, Instagram, and all other forms of social media. You can follow NACC Sports, where you can get those updates, as those will be announced tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, wherever region you may be present, when the awards will be announced in the all-conference teams. The awards will be announced, and all the all-conference teams will be announced in the NACC for women's soccer tomorrow. So stand by for that. As it stands right now, it appears that Illinois Tech could be on their way to a 3rd straight meeting with the MSOE Raiders. MSOE up 2-0 on Edgewood. Illinois Tech up 1-0 on Dominican at halftime. We'll take one last break, and when we return, second half action, let's see if the Scarlet Hawks can get to their 5th straight NACC Conference Championship, or if Dominican can get leveled and extend this matchup, or maybe even get level and go ahead of Illinois Tech in this next 45 minutes. We'll find out what happens on the other side of this break here at Stuart Field in Chicago. You're watching the NACC Women's Soccer Semifinals on YouTube Live and on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Back here at Stuart Field in Chicago, Chris Rouse on the call as we get ready to continue the NACC women's soccer semifinal matchup between the number 1 seed, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks, the 3-time NACC regular season champions, as they take on the Dominican Stars. Dominican actually a team that has a number of regular season championships and conference tournament championships under their belt, with their most recent conference tournament championship occurring back in 2021 when they beat these Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks by a score of 2-1. And Illinois Tech, of course, last season bouncing back from their loss at the hands of MSOE in 2023 with a huge win against MSOE again last season to finally break through and win the NACC championship in their 4th try. 1-0 here at halftime. The Scarlet Hawks in their red unis will now go left to right on your screen at home. And, of course, Dominican in their navy unis with the gold numbers and socks will go in the opposite direction. Dominican still in their team huddle out on the pitch. Their season on the line here in this second 45 minutes. They trail 1-0. Taylor Hernandez with the goal for the Scarlet Hawks in the 39th minute. That's the difference on the scoreboard. Illinois Tech outshot Dominican 13-0 in the first half. Actually 14-0, with 7 of the 14 being on goal for Illinois Tech. 3 fouls against Illinois Tech, 2 against Dominican, 1 offside call against Illinois Tech, 5 corners, none for Dominican. Dominican has hardly possessed the ball. I don't think Dominican has actually possessed the ball in their attacking third. Smith sends the ball down the pitch with Vatalia in pursuit. Natalia Lopez actually will hand it off for a Dominican throw. Ball thrown in, and now Illinois Tech gains possession, and they switch it with Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara has Thomas on the outside, Ramos in the middle. Yoni Hara goes outside to Thomas. Here's Thomas, makes a move down to the end line. She played it back to Yoni Hara, and Yoni Hara with a bit of a collision with Dozen. Nothing malicious there. Good job by the officials to let them play on. That was really just 2 people meeting at the ball, and Dosen ended up winning. Ball played back. Murray over to Vatalia. Vatalia finds Yoni Hara. Over to Ramos. Ramos to Thomas. Thomas's switch pass, or maybe she was trying to cross it in, is deflected away. Cudahy stepped in front, and it leads to the Illinois Tech corner. Coach Carrillo in his 12th season. Again, when he first took over back in November 2013, inherited a 3-win team, but has helped build this program to 4 conference championships, 4 conference tournament championships, equaling 4 NCAA tournament appearances. The corner for Illinois Tech knocked down and possessed by the Scarlet Hawks. After all, it was knocked around. Frampton had it, and then it was taken away by Wilhite. Megan Wilhite, one of the first times we'll see Dominican on the counterattack. Wilhite tried to switch it, and Baltez comes away with it. The entire Dominican sideline, they didn't understand that one. They wanted Wilhite to go all the way. Wilhite, of course, had the 2 goals in their semifinal win, or so their quarterfinal win against Concordia University of Wisconsin to get them to this semifinal matchup. And here's Yoni Hara with the gloves on, passing the ball over to Ramos. Yoni Hara up to Thomas and right back. Here's Allison Murray. Murray finding Hitchcock. Hitchcock's been quiet for the most part. Really much of my commentary for Kelly Hitchcock has been on some of the missed touches we saw in that first half. Yoni Hara goes into Ramos. It actually just hit Ramos on the shoulder and rolled over to Stanek. Coach Carrillo of Dominican calling for support in the middle. He wants some help. But once again, that's consistent with what we've seen out of Dominican strategically, which is basically put all their players on that back line right in the middle of the field. They had 5 on the back line when we started the match. Here's Wilhite. Wilhite finds herself in a double team with Frampton and Murray. Murray takes it away for Illinois Tech. Thomas along the end line, on the sideline. And the ball knocked out of play over the touchline for an Illinois Tech throw with Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara into Ramos. Coach Carrillo with just repeated defensive instructions for that back line, just trying to make sure that his Dominican roster doesn't give up, at least they don't give up one more goal before Illinois Tech, before they can strike back on Illinois Tech and get leveled here. Here's Yoni Hara. Plays it over to Thomas. Dominican's defense, once again, they're doing their part. They're keeping Illinois Tech from getting more shots on the net, but the pressure continues to build. Hitchcock really just lost it, and now the ball taken away by Dominican as Matusik runs it out of play. Scarlet Hawk throw. Dominican won possession briefly. Will Height's going to get there. Let's see if she can turn. The answer is no, but that's more so because of Kayla Smith stepping in and knocking the ball away. Bit of a slow turn there from Will Height as well. Allowed Smith to really just charge the ball. And any play Will Height was going to try to make was going to be a tough one against Smith. Hitchcock. She tries to turn. Ball goes out of play off Dominican for an Illinois Tech throw. It's bounced into Murray. Murray switched past to Yoni Hara. Coach Ellison was adamant about that ball being switched. It maybe came a little later than he liked, and as a result, Dominican was able to send the ball the other way. Murray finally switches it over to Thomas. Thomas makes a move towards the net, plays the ball back to Vathalia. And now Murray over to Hitchcock. Smith faked outside. Smith going for goal. That one high off the south fits at Stuart Field for a goal kick. Scarlet Hawks aiming towards that 31st Street goal here. Smith sent it a little bit too high. And it'll lead to Dominican now sending the ball down. The goal kick will be taken by Kleesner. Kleesner, the first-year player out of Champaign, Illinois. And now Dominican. Encouragement coming from their sideline. But Dominican still unable to put any offensive pressure on the north net here at Stewart Field. Smith played it in. Thomas going for goal!
Wow, from Kayla Smith. Thomas from Smith.
A pair of Kaylas creating that goal for the Scarlet Hawks as Thomas 20 is assisted by Smith, number 4.
Kayla Thomas, assisted by number 4 for Kayla Smith.
Kayla connection there for the Scarlet Hawks as Smith gets her 10th assist of the season, finding Thomas, who gets her 7th goal. And Illinois Tech, there's that much-needed breathing room I'm sure Coach Roshane Ellison was looking for, as now the Scarlet Hawks lead it 2-0. So it was Hernandez with the goal in the 39th minute for Illinois Tech. And now we get a goal from Thomas, this one assisted by Smith, to give Illinois Tech the 2-0 advantage. Illinois Tech with Murray playing over to Yoni Hara. Thomas, fresh off of a goal scored, has the ball knocked out of play to lead to an Illinois Tech throw-in. And now the ball switched over. Hitchcock. Illinois Tech looking to Murray. Murray going to go for goal. Stanek gets there, knocks it away. Goals in the 39th minute for Taylor Hernandez. Goals in the 52nd minute for Kayla Thomas, assisted by Kayla Smith. And now the ball sent down. And possessed again by Ramos. Ramos plays it up the pitch. That's a long run for Smith. Matusik also had a long run. Matusik was out in front, however. Tough turn from Matusik. And it leads to Illinois Tech repossessing the ball just outside of their attack. Actually, now inside the attacking third with Murray switching it over to Thomas. Thomas, left foot shot this time, but that one's going to bounce right into the hands of Stanek. Dominican going to go with a pair of reserves on the next possible stoppage, so that those reserves will wait. We saw Borsellino earlier. The other reserve will be Logan Shanks, the first-year player out of Bloomington, Illinois. And in fact, Shanks scored Dominican's first goal of the season back when they played North Park. Remember, Dominican lost their first match of the season. Dominican lost their first game to Wheaton on August 29th, but they had a 2-1 win on September 3rd against North Park. That's where Shanks scored the first goal. It was, I believe it was Shanks and Lopez who scored the goals for Dominican in that first match of the season. As now Illinois Tech in possession again. Hitchcock trying to go for goal. Hitchcock goes down, and that'll be a PK as she was down inside the penalty area. I think they're going to say Hitchcock is just outside. That's awfully close. Hitchcock went down in the penalty area, but it appears the officials are going to say she's just outside of it here. Wow, Hitchcock is down, and this is worth watching. Certainly, Hitchcock, the leading goal scorer for Illinois Tech, or one of the leading goal scorers for Illinois Tech this season. Of course, Hitchcock had led the way the majority of the season for the Scarlet Hawks before being passed by Kayla Smith, who now has 13. Hitchcock has 12 goals herself. Illinois Tech will get a free kick. Yeah, Scarlet Hawks looking at this spot here. The ball is on the 18-yard line. It's pretty favorable spot for Illinois Tech, as you can see you see them going over the strategy here, them being Smith and Yeager. And now here's Smith, who'll go for goal herself. She sends it in, but it goes wide to that back post. So Logan Shanks and Sarah Borsellino, they will now come onto the pitch. Borsellino came on in the first half, replacing Will Height, and she'll do that for the second time. Mia Dosen will come off the pitch. Dosen, the leading goal scorer, the senior out of Palos Hills, Illinois for Dominican. The two leading goal scorers, really, Dosen with 9, Will Height with 7 this season for Dominican. Logan Shanks, who just came on, I mentioned earlier, had the first goal of the season for Dominican back in their 2-1 win against North Park on September the 3rd. Shanks scored, and so did Natalia Lopez in that matchup. So those were the two players credited with goals in the first win of the season for Dominican. And now Dominican down to their final 33 minutes and counting of their season, with Illinois Tech now up 2-0. Vatalia. Quick touch and played back to Murray, who finds Ramos. Ramos has help on the outside in Thomas, and she saw it the entire way. Here's Thomas. Centering pass for Vatalia, deflected away. Yonihara. Shanks charging in behind, but Yonihara able to dribble away from trouble. Hitchcock to Yonihara. Good touch by Yonihara to try to set up either Hitchcock or Vatalia. It didn't work out for Illinois Tech, but they get it back to Ramos. Thomas plays the ball back. Yonihara playing it to the outside. Seeing a lot of the same passes from Illinois Tech with this midfield forward connection of Yonihara and Thomas. Yonihara, Ramos, and Thomas. Really, everything is going to Thomas on the outside. And if it's not there, it's immediately played back to Yonihara to either feed Ramos or Hitchcock on the opposite side in the middle of the pitch. Free kick sent down from Dominican, following the offside. Here's Rue to Borsellino. Good pass to the outside. Here's a chance to run for Dominican. That'll lead to a foul. Easy foul on the outside as Smith made contact trying to get the tackle. I believe that's Matusik who went down on that far side of the field. And now Dominican has a player down holding a knee. But remember that they're playing on that field turf. Certainly gets hard this time of year. It's been cold all week here in Chicago, as you would expect for early November. And the temperature has certainly dropped here as this matchup continues. 46 degrees the temperature now, with winds blowing west-northwest, which means they're blowing really towards the back post of this kick. Free kick coming for Dominican. The ball sent in and headed away by Illinois Tech in a hurry. That was Lopez on the free kick. You could actually hear Coach Carrillo. He was saying back post after Illinois Tech knocked the ball down, got quality touches, and sent it out. You could hear him yelling back post. He didn't really like where the placement of that free kick went for Dominican. And now Illinois Tech in possession with Hampton. Murray. Plenty of space for Murray. She has support on both sides to the outside. Instead, she goes to the east side of the pitch trying to find Smith. Stanek gets down to the ball for Dominican. Plenty of time for Dominican to try to get level. You can hear the sideline just trying to encourage the players on the pitch for the Stars. They're in this match. They've been in it the entire way. I know they're down 2-0. The problem for Dominican, they haven't really been able to get any shots here. And they did a great job with the discipline of their back line. They made Illinois Tech wait until the 39th minute to finally get on the board here. But with goals in the 39th and 52nd minute, respectfully, Illinois Tech now up 2-0, and that one almost adding to it after we played a full hour here at Stuart Field. If you're just joining us, Chris Rouse here on the call. You're watching the NACC women's soccer semifinal matchup between the number 1 seed Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks and the number 4 seed Dominican Stars. Taylor Hernandez with a goal in the 39th minute. And then Kayla Thomas assisted by Kayla Smith with a goal in the 52nd minute. Those are the 2 scores for Illinois Tech. Here comes Dominican with Logan Shanks. Shanks is dispossessed after a beautiful sliding tackle from Mary Frampton. The winner of this matchup will take on the winner of our other semifinal matchup in the conference between the MSOE Raiders and the Edgewood Eagles. MSOE has extended their lead to 3-0 over Edgewood. It was a 2-0 halftime lead for the Raiders in Milwaukee. But now it's Rosario Echeverria Abuin adding the 3rd goal, along with Claire Bradford and Faith Papazoglu, to put MSOE up 3-0 in Milwaukee. That game currently in the 62nd minute, just like we are here in Chicago. Perfect timing. Both games in sync. Same minute. Vatalia knocked it over to Hitchcock. Hitchcock back up to Vatalia. Good job with the right foot touches today for Vatalia. It's been that right foot touch, left foot strike approach for 25 in red all year. And there you see it again. Vatalia with that right foot touch actually got knocked down and it leads to a foul. Actually, officials, no foul yet. They're going to play the advantage. And the ball really didn't go in either direction, so Illinois Tech will just keep playing on here. Murray over to Ramos. Thomas played it back. Chance to go for goal. Nope, Illinois Tech going to play it outside again. Ramos tried to center it. Ball knocked away. And it's going to be a long run for Illinois Tech to regain possession. But the Scarlet Hawks able to maintain. Hitchcock had a quick touch. And now Ramos plays it back. There it is, playing it right back to Yoni Harris. Illinois Tech just trying to settle down here with Frampton now over to Baltez. That back line for Illinois Tech less involved here in the second half in comparison to the first half. It was actually this back line for Illinois Tech where that helped them gain the time of possession advantage. A lot of dribbling and just switch passing, trying to feel out Dominican's back line. Yonihara. Quick pass into Vatalia. Here's another pass. A lot of dribbling for Illinois Tech. We said this in the first half. A lot of dribbling from the Scarlet Hawks. It was more so on the back line. But now it's the forwards getting into what could be shooting pockets, but they're not taking the shot. Murray to Hitchcock. This is Smith. Smith working on Gar. Gar's had a really good night defensively for Dominican. Smith passes in front for Ramos, and she sends it high off the south fence at Stuart Field. Talk about a patient build for Illinois Tech. They did everything there. The passing around the field, excellent, setting up the shot, but Ramos unsuccessful in what would have been her 5th goal. Taylor Hernandez, who scored the opening goal of this match in the 39th minute. She has 10 goals on the season thanks to that one. She'll re-enter the matchup, the first-year player out of San Clemente, California. So Hernandez back out there for the Scarlet Hawks. As now Dominican now down to the final 25 minutes and change of their season. Should results hold at 2-0, that is. Ball sent out of play. And lead a Scarlet Hawk throw. Coach Roshane Ellison, not as vocal as he was in that first half now that his team has a 2-0 advantage, but continuing to coach along that sideline. Still standing along that sideline with instructions for his team. Smith. Her pass was deflected back to Murray. Hitchcock. Hitchcock goes for goal. That one's off the back fence for another goal kick. Dominican inside their final, what could be their final 25 minutes of the season. Avery Seeley into the matchup for Illinois Tech, number 14. We just saw Thomas come off the pitch for Illinois Tech. It'll be Vatalia this time. Hitchcock. Quick header into the air. Possession won by Dominican. Played up the pitch to Borsellino. Yeager and Murray both surrounding the ball. Good job by Murray just getting in and tackle Borsellino off the ball, and Yeager won the possession and a foul against Dominican. It appears that Megan Wilhite will come back in for Dominican, number 28. She's set to check in. And that sounds about right. Dominican going to try to get their scores. Dosen and Wilhite out there for what could be the stretch run of their season. Here's Smith. Smith makes the move. Passed off to Hitchcock and right back to Smith. You see Illinois Tech, they're getting into the shooting lanes. They're just not pulling the trigger. Really just running some of this clock as now Yonihara plays it over into the corner. Smith to Murray. Hitchcock. To Murray, and here's Smith again. Those forwards and midfielders, everyone getting a touch. That one just mishandled by Stanek, and it actually will lead to a Scarlet Hawk corner. As it stands right now, Illinois Tech will meet MSOE in the NACC Women's Soccer Championship. It'll be the 3rd straight season that those two teams will meet if those results hold. Both games are in the same exact 68th minute. As now Illinois Tech will get a corner here, up 2-0, looking to add on to their lead. Scarlet Hawks 24 shots, 10 of which were on net, and they add another goal. The set piece Works for Illinois Tech. And it was Baltez with the header, and that's been one of the main plays for Illinois Tech all season. Looking for Baltez on the set piece from the corner. It works this time.
By number 16, Gabby Baltez, assisted by number 4, Kayla Smith.
Baltez with the goals. Kayla Smith with the assist. Smith with her second assist of the match. And in the 68th minute. So Illinois Tech with goals in the 39th, 52nd, and 68th minute. Now lead at 3-0. That goal from Baltez, her 6th of the season. That assist from Smith with her 2nd of the match now puts her at 11 on the season. Here's Dominican looking for just some sort of offense. There's a shot, and it's saved by Hampton. That's the first recorded shot for Dominican, and it comes here in the 68th minute. Smith over to Ramos and back to Yoni Hara. And now here is Kelly Hitchcock. And now with both matches at 3-0 and in the 69th minute, we're starting to get closer to that rubber match for the NACC Women's Soccer Championship between MSOE and Illinois Tech. Ava Navarte getting set to come back on for Illinois Tech. And for the Scarlet Hawks, what a run it's been for head coach Roshane Ellison. If they can hold the results here, they'll go to their 5th straight conference championship. It'll be their 5th straight conference championship game. It'll be the 4th straight year the conference championship game will be played here at Stuart Field. And as we said earlier, Illinois Tech versus MSOE for the 3rd straight season. Looks like we could see that coming with Illinois Tech looking to go back-to-back. Of course, remember the matchup in 2023, MSOE with a 1-0 double overtime win. Maggie Tillman with the goal, and probably one of the best matches I've ever seen played here, men's or women's soccer at Stuart Field. Been coming here almost a decade. That one certainly topping the list. With the Maggie Tillman goal to send MSOE to the NCAA tournament in 2023. But it was Illinois Tech in dominant fashion last year, finding their way to the NACC conference tournament championship. Navarte had the ball, it rolls out of play. It'll be a Scarlet Hawk throw. And we talked about what Roshane Ellison has done with this team in his 11 seasons, and think about that, once again, if they win here, it'll be 5 straight conference tournament championship games. But you lose 3 straight times. You fall short 3 times to get to the NCAA tournament, including the one against MSOE, which was such heartbreaking fashion. A great game, well-played match, just one missed touch by Beltran in that match that led to the Tillman goal. But Illinois Tech certainly did more than make up for it a year ago by getting past MSOE and going on to the NCAA tournament. Dominican pushing the other way with Gar. Gar has had a really good night. She's certainly passed the eye test for Dominican defensively. But now the ball knocked away and possessed by Illinois Tech. Both teams with quick touches, and now a turn for Rue. Sierra Rue goes down as Jaeger made the tackle to the pitch. Talk about Illinois Tech last year, 6-1 in the NACC Women's Soccer Championship game, but then went on to the NCAA tournament, all the way to the Sweet 16 before falling to Amherst. I'm sure Coach Roshane Ellison with this team and how well they've played defensively, how disciplined they've been on both sides of the ball. He would love for one more dance with this Scarlet Hawks roster. Ball played in front of the net. Chance to go for goal. That was Yoni Hara who stepped in front and sent it out. It'll lead to a Dominican corner. But good job by Yoni Hara heads-up play, high IQ play to keep Logan Shanks from getting the easy goal. It'll be Barney to take the corner here for Dominican. He should take it from that northwest corner. First corner of the evening for Dominican. They only have the one shot, which was not too long ago. And it will remain that way on the stat sheet as Illinois Tech with Seeley runs down possession. Seeley to Navarte. Hitchcock and Gar meet at the ball. And Hernandez now secures possession for Illinois Tech. Coach Roshane Ellison telling his team short passes, and it makes a lot of sense. 3-0 advantage. Keep control of the ball. That's what worked for Illinois Tech in the first half. Short passes, a lot of dribbling to short passes to keep possession. Ball goes out here to lead to another goal kick. Stanek hasn't taken any of the goal kicks this evening. And so now this one will be taken again by Kleesner. Scarlet Hawks 25-1 on the shot total. 11 of the 25 for Illinois Tech on goal. The one for Dominican was on goal. We just saw that not too long ago from Rue. 7 corners to 1 for Illinois Tech. Fouls, 4 against Dominican, 5 against Illinois Tech, meaning Dominican leads that stat. 3 offside calls against Illinois Tech, 1 against Dominican. Dominican leading the stat again there with less violations. Hernandez, dispossessed by Gar. Gar's certainly been giving it all she's got this evening, number 21 in Navy. Gar, the sophomore out of Henderson, Nevada, out of Coronado. Now here's Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara over to Smith. Illinois Tech just taking their time with the ball here, dribbling and passing along the sideline. It'll be Murray who switches one to the middle of the pitch. Hitchcock to Navarte. Taylor Hernandez with her 10th goal of the season earlier this evening, scored in the 39th minute. Gave Illinois Tech the 1-0 advantage, and technically, statistically, Hernandez would be credited with the game-winning goal for Illinois Tech. Remember, it's the goal that gives the team the lead no matter what point of the match the goal occurs. Unless, of course, Dominican were to get it back level and then someone were to unbreak the tie. Here is Hitchcock. Plays it back over to Murray. Illinois Tech, really, their forwards just doing a lot of shifting where the ball goes. A lot of the passing has been between the midfielders. Really has been more so that line of Yoni Hara, Ramos. Navarte's been involved as well, but we've really seen just Ramos and Yoni Hara setting the table for Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks sub as Hitchcock will come off the pitch. Caitlin Walsh back in. Walsh came in as a reserve in the first half, the junior out of Richmond, Texas. She'll do it again here in the second half, replacing Hitchcock. Ball sent in. Headed into the air. Ping-ponged around before it's finally knocked out of play. And Illinois Tech with possession. Smith sends it in. And sent right back out by Dominican. Good job by those middle backs. Rue had a brief touch on the ball, and now Matusik wins it for Dominican. She sends it down and out of play for a Scarlet Hawk throw in. For Dominican, what a season it's been for the Stars. 12-5-1, 9-3 in conference play, and actually an impressive road record for Dominican. 6-3 on the road this season. And, of course, up until Jenny Shade scored on Sunday with 3 seconds to go, they had been the only team in the NACC to have a goal against Illinois Tech, they being Mia Dosen, with the 1 goal she scored back on October 15th when Illinois Tech won 5-1. On that Wednesday night, Illinois Tech won 5-1. On this Wednesday night, the Scarlet Hawks lead at 3-0. And now Will Height will come off the pitch for Dosen. And now, that's actually an interesting sub there for Dominican. You would think maybe both would be out there. Those are the two leading goal scorers. Instead, they trade one for the other. Baltez will watch it back to Hampton. Hampton saw everyone charging. Baltez did not. That almost would have been a chance to go for goal for Dominican. Yoni Hara joining that back line and plays it over to Smith. Illinois Tech has kept really the same three on the back line the entire evening. It's been Frampton, Baltez, and Yeager. And then that's where Yoni Hara, Ramos, Murray, and Smith all come in sort of as forwards and midfielders. That's sort of been the connection from Illinois Tech, just those three on the back line. And they commit more bodies to the midfielders and, of course, the forwards and strikers. Early on, Illinois Tech was going with just three. I mentioned how they were going with the three on the back line. They were going with the 3-2-5 look. And then, of course, Dominican was countering with five on their back line. Now, Dominican throwing in. Seeley had it briefly for Illinois Tech, and then the ball that was sent down the pitch for Dominican just went long right to Yoni Hara. And look at Yoni Hara. She actually had her hand out just calling for it from Smith, and now she'll play it up for the Scarlet Hawks. Here's Walsh. Walsh on the outside. I don't know if Walsh got caught in between shooting or centering the centering pass, but a bit of a mishit as the ball goes out of play for a goal kick. The Dominican sideline, the players have certainly been into it. They're continuing to cheer on their roster, their teammates. You can hear them saying, dig deep blue here. Final 11 minutes of what could be the 2025 Dominican Stars women's soccer season. We're going to need a huge effort late as now Walsh wins possession for Illinois Tech. Walsh gives it up. Hernandez making a number of moves. That's sort of what she did before she got that shot earlier to score the goal. Walsh to Murray. Illinois Tech got a couple of players that are in shooting pockets, but I don't think for Illinois Tech they're looking to add on here. I think they're really just trying to run the clock, and they're showing that Dominican's really having a hard time just dispossessing them of the ball. Navarte looking for Seeley. Pass goes long, actually too wide on the through ball. And once again, two coaches in this conference, Carlos Carrillo and Roshane Ellison, that have certainly seen their share of ups and downs, and they've seen their battles in this conference. They've also seen that you can rebuild a program in this conference. I mentioned Coach Carlos Carrillo, a 3-win team when he took over back in 2013. Here in his 12th season, he's 4 conference tournaments, 4 conference championships, and 4 NCAA tournament appearances deep. And while his team could be 9 minutes from seeing their season come to an end, certainly a lot to be proud of with a 12-win season for Dominican. But Roshane Ellison and the Scarlet Hawks seems like they're the team of now in the NACC. Remember, this is a conference that saw Aurora run the conference in the early days, back when Aurora was competing for 8 of the first 9 conference championships. And then you had, of course, Dominican had their run. MSOE's had their run. Illinois Tech, for the 5th straight year, could be headed to the NACC Conference Championship game. And this will be the 4th straight year it will be hosted at Stuart Field. Again, assuming Illinois Tech holds on here in these final 9 minutes. Walsh to Vatalia. Vatalia returned on the most recent stoppage. Here's Yoni Hara. Yoni Hara over to Seeley. Allison Murray. Illinois Tech just Once again, patient passing. Ball goes long for Yoni Hara, but she actually ran it down to Vatalia. Navarte sends it in, and Stanek gets there as well. Borsellino set to come back onto the pitch for Dominican, and Rachel Fujimori set to come on for the first time in this one for Illinois Tech. Fujimori, the senior out of Garden Grove, California, has appeared in certainly her share of matches for Illinois Tech this season. 14 of the previously played 19, and now it'll be appearance number 15 for Fujimori now. Fujimori will replace Murray, and Borsellino will replace Gar, and what an effort from Tia Gar. She has certainly had a great matchup this evening for Dominican. And Tia Gar on the sideline, certainly emotional at the moment, but great effort from 21 in Navy. Certainly put it all on the line here at Stuart Field against the Scarlet Hawks. Frampton over to Yoni Hari. Walsh was dispossessed, and now there's Fujimori with her first touch. So up the pitch to Seeley. Illinois Tech with Hernandez on the outside. Hernandez switches it in, sends it in. It's caught by Stanek to keep Illinois Tech from adding on. Halfway through this 83rd minute. And the ball sent down by Dominican. Navarte with a quick touch. Ball goes high into the air where Logan Shanks was the player for Dominican closing in, but too many red jerseys around the ball. Fujimori had it briefly. It's taken away by Dominican. That's a slow roller right to Hampton. That's coming from Dosen. One shot. That's all we've seen from Dominican in the stat book this evening. They've been outshot 26-1, 12-1 on goal. And the one came from Sierra Rue here in the second half, ran down to the end line, and just fired a shot at Hampton. Ball going to bounce out of play right here in front of the broadcast location where Yoni Hara will throw it in for Illinois Tech. Coach Roshane Ellison, what a job he's done here. And we mentioned Carlos Carrillo coming in, inheriting a 3-win team. Well, Coach Roshane Ellison, he inherited a team that wasn't even in NCAA. They were the USCAA. Then when, of course, Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks Athletics made the jump to NCAA Division III for the 2018-19 campaign, Coach Roshane Ellison had a team that's been competitive every year since. Mentioned looking for what would be their 5th straight conference championship game appearance here. As now Vatalia sends one in. Illinois Tech wanted a handball, and the Scarlet Hawks will get it. Elsewhere, MSOE up 3-0 in the 82nd minute over Edgewood. And assuming both teams hang on, it will be Illinois Tech versus MSOE for the 3rd straight year. Mary Frampton will take the PK. Frampton already has a PK goal this season. That was against Marion back on October 4th. Frampton versus Stanek here on the PK in the 85th minute. And Mary Frampton adds to Illinois Tech's advantage. Goal number 2 for Mary Frampton this season, both of the PK variety. Frampton has 2 goals this season. She scored them both in the same spot, the south goal at Stuart Field. PK against Marion on October the 4th. PK against Dominican a month and a day later, November the 5th. 4-0 Scarlet Hawks, a number of players coming off the pitch for Illinois Tech. As now Coach Roshane Ellison, he's got Carolyn Bach out there. And a number of other players that also came on. We saw Gabrielle West entered the match as well. Bach, 24. West is 3. And there may be one more reserve that I think Abby Cooley, who just had a touch, is the other who came on the pitch for the Scarlet Hawks. Ball sent down by Dominican. And we've mentioned that all season, how Mary Frampton could be one of those players that, while we may not officially know what the post-playing career plans could be for Mary Frampton, one of those players that you feel like you could possibly see around this program moving forward, much the same as you see out of other players on the roster, on the other former players on the coaching staff with Lucy Georgiorian and Sarah Thomas and Jillian Oligschlager. And speaking of Georgiorian, I remember she had a free kick goal against Dominican. Can't remember if that was last season or 2 seasons ago, but she had a free kick goal against Dominican when they played here at Stuart Field on that south net. But Illinois Tech here with a 4-0 advantage. Is now M.K. Kleesner. Actually, I thought it was going to be Kleesner. It would be Dozen who takes the – well, actually, it won't be Dozen. She walks away from the ball. And now Dominican just burning time, trying to figure out who will take this free kick. And it would be Barney. 4-0 Scarlet Hawks. Barney lobs it in. That's a good run for the Stars. But Hampton able to get to the ball again. Illinois Tech versus MSOE, if that is going to be the conference championship game. It was originally scheduled for Saturday, but time to be determined and announced, as that game has now been moved to Friday due to weather concerns in the Midwest area. Remember, both teams play here. We play Illinois Tech playing here at Chicago at Stewart Field, and of course MSOE playing up at Viets Field in Milwaukee. Both teams sort of in the line of the bad weather, slated to come into the Midwest. So the matchup originally scheduled for Saturday now sounds like it will be a Friday matchup, but none of that confirmed, or at least the time yet to be confirmed, as the Scarlet Hawks and Raiders could be setting up for the rubber match in their 3rd straight meeting for the NACC Women's Soccer Championship. Illinois Tech is under 3 minutes from getting there here as we enter the 88th minute. And what a season from Coach Roshane Ellison's team. How dominant the Scarlet Hawks have been. We mentioned in the open, Illinois Tech entered the matchup outscoring opponents 72-2 in conference play. That now has been moved to 76-2 in conference play. And Illinois Tech entered the matchup outscoring opponents 86-9 on the regular season. Illinois Tech now 90-9 on the season. And just what a season, only allowing 2 goals. Mia Dosen, of course, scored one of those 2. Jenny Shade scoring the other in the quarterfinals for Wisconsin Lutheran. Illinois Tech in the regular season outscored opponents 67-1 with, of course, Dosen. That's conference opponents 67-1 with Dosen representing the 1. Bach has the ball out near midfield. Final 100 seconds here at Stewart Field, where the Scarlet Hawks can pretty much feel it now. They're just 90 seconds away from their 5th straight conference championship game appearance. And it'd be the 4th straight year that the winner of the NACC Women's Soccer Championship will be decided at Stewart Field. In 2022, Dominican was the #1 overall seed, meaning they had won the regular season title. They lost to Concordia University of Wisconsin in an upset. And those same Falcons ended up beating Illinois Tech in the 2022 conference championship game. We talked about how Dominican beat Illinois Tech 2-1 in 2021. Concordia beat Illinois Tech in 2022. MSOE got Illinois Tech in 2023 before Illinois Tech returned to favor last season. And let's see if Dominican can add a goal, much the same as Wisconsin Lutheran did on Sunday in those final 3 seconds. It was a corner. Ball sent in. Chance to go for goal. Headed towards the inline and out of play with 30 seconds to go, and that very well could be the final action here at Stuart Field in the semifinal contest. The Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks well on their way. They will meet the MSOE Raiders. That matchup in the countdown just like we are now. And that will wrap it up from Stuart Field, where the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks defeat the Dominican Stars 4-0. And for the 5th straight season, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks will play for the NACC Women's Soccer Conference Tournament Championship. And for the 4th straight year, it will be decided right here at Stuart Field. For the 3rd straight year, it will be the Scarlet Hawks versus the MSOE Raiders. And Illinois Tech will be playing for a back-to-back conference tournament championship as they take on the MSOE Raiders. That time and date to be determined and announced. Still scheduled for Saturday at noon. Scheduled for Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m., here at Stuart Field. But there's been a lot of talk that there could be a change, but as it stands now, still scheduled for 3 p.m. kickoff right here at Stuart Field. Scarlet Hawks win it 4-0 over Dominican in the semifinals. They advance to the conference championship matchup. Taylor Hernandez in the 39th minute. Kayla Thomas assisted by Kayla Smith in the 52nd minute. Gabriela Baltez with a header off the corner in the 68th minute. And Mary Frampton with a goal in the 85th minute with the PK as the Scarlet Hawks win it 4-0 here at Stuart Field. For all of our crew, I'm Chris Rouse. This has been another presentation of NCAA Division III Women's Soccer on YouTube Live and on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network.